let us begin our heart-focused breathing technique, and just place your awareness in the area of the heart and just take slow, deep breaths, visualizing these flowing in and out of your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. And we will do this for the next 5 minutes. Just placing awareness in the area of the heart, taking slow, deep breaths. And visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. Just take those slow, gentle breaths. And just experience the slowing down of your body. In this peaceful moment, you may begin to be inspired by thoughts. And that's okay. Allow them to flow. Just observe them. Trust that if they're important enough that they'll come back. If there are thoughts that raise fear, then just accept them as one potential of the infinite amount of potentials that could happen out there. And so begin to focus on a different potential, and then allow it to release into the universe. Slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. When you do this technique often enough, you can actually feel your own heartbeat. Slow, deep breaths. And just visualize them flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. To see if you're breathing deep enough, see if you can count 5, a slow count of 5 breathing in, and a slow count of 5 breathing out. If you're going faster than that, then that is the goal you want to attain over time. But be gentle with yourself. Slow, deep breaths. Visualize these breaths flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. Wonderful. Now, time for the I didn't know that moment. Today's topic is shades of kindness. And this is where is an interesting study that was done by some scientists. And what they found out was there are two types of kindness that they studied. The first one was called strategic kindness. So a kindness with a strategy. The other one was called altruistic kindness. The names are not important, but the distinctions are. So strategic kindness is about us being kind to somebody, hoping something in return. So for example, if you're giving to a charity and you give them an amount that gets your name put into a flyer or on a brick on a wall, that's called strategic kindness. Like I'm giving money, but in return I get something back, and there's an expectation of an exchange. That's strategic kindness. Business owners know this. People who are in business know this, because what they do is over Christmas they send their clients gift baskets, and that maintains a relationship. And I know that when I was in the corporate world, I stopped getting those cards once I left the corporate world. So it was only there because of my position there. So that's called strategic kindness. It's a nice level of kindness, and I sure appreciated that, and it made our working relationships well. But that's what's called strategic kindness, in expecting something in return. Altruistic kindness is different. It's one where many people have known this, that if you're in the front of a line, you pay for the coffee for the person behind you without even knowing. This is especially wonderful in drive-thrus, because the person behind you doesn't know that you have bought them their coffee at the drive-thru, and doesn't know before they can even thank you. That's called altruistic kindness. That's where you don't expect anything in return. You're doing it whether anybody's watching or not. Now, once you the difference between the two was really highlighted in the imaging. They actually did the MRI or imaging, magnetic imaging of the brains of over 1,000 people who were involved in this study. And what they found out was very interesting. They found out that there are common areas of the brain that will light up when you're showing kindness. But there's an interesting area of the brain that lights up when you're doing altruistic kindness, which means kindness when you're expecting nothing in return. And that area of the brain that lit up is in the emotional centers. And that's very interesting. The one that is lit up when you are doing a strategic kindness, where you're expecting something back, is in the area of the reward center. There's an actual reward center in your brain that lights up. But the altruistic one, where you're doing without expecting anything in return, that area, the brain area that lights up, is in the area of the emotional center. Now, of course, we feel amazing when we give to somebody and not having anything in return, because we're doing it out of our love of our heart, love for humanity, love for others. And when you do that, it hits the emotional centers. And the emotional centers are responsible for actually recharging your energy or draining your energy. So the most powerful kind of kindness that you can express is around altruistic kindness, where you're not expecting anything in return. And it affects the emotional centers. All right? So that's a bit of kindness for you today, a topic anyways. So let us begin to go to the next level of quick coherence technique. And this is where we actually feel. We actually begin to express our feelings, so that we can actually begin to repair and rejuvenate ourselves. So this quick coherence technique is conducted by placing awareness in the area of the heart and just taking slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. And now reach for that feeling, that experience that has given you a feeling of compassion, of appreciation, of peace. Just draw that into your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would, and drawing these amazing emotions And continue to express and feel appreciation, gratitude, all these emotions. Just begin to feel them. Draw them into your heart, ever so gently. Slow, deep breaths. And visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. Let's do this for a few more minutes. Notice where you're feeling from. It's not unusual for people to start thinking about the feeling rather than feeling the feeling. So are you in your head focusing on the feeling, or are you in your heart experiencing the feeling? Just notice the difference. Because when you experience the feeling, you draw it into your heart, and it rushes to your brain easier than the other way around. So drop into your heart and experience the feeling in your heart. Slow, deep breaths, and experience this flowing in and out of your heart. Just breathe a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. Slow, deep breaths. Slow, deep breaths. Put a gentle smile on your face. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I have a comment here from Michelle. Michelle says that a few weeks ago, I went to Maui for a retreat. A girl from Italy asked me a question. I answered her the best answer at the moment, but she didn't like it. She corrected me by the answer she would like to her, and I refused. She cried and complained I was not a nice person because I did not care her feeling. This bothered me a week, but I prefer to be my true self, not wearing a mask to please everyone. If she did not like my answer, don't ask me any questions. That's very interesting, Michelle. You went to a retreat. I assume it's for a personal development one, more of a spiritual one, where people are looking for answers. And you obviously attracted somebody to come to you because of your presence, your lovely presence. And that person asked you a question, and you answered in the best way you wanted to answer. But that answer did not please the other person. And the other person wanted an answer that would more please her. And you said, no, that's not what I want to do. And obviously the other person was upset by it because he wanted to hear a different answer. It's an interesting exchange that you've had, Michelle. And I know it bothered you for a week. I'm sure it bothered the other person for a week as well. It was a woman, you said, from Italy. And, I'm sorry to hear that it bothered you. But there's something there, kindness is not all about me giving somebody what they want. Kindness is about me saying things the way I perceive them and letting them know in a gentle, loving way that this is the way I see it and this is the way I experience this. This has happened to me before where I've said things where people are not happy about receiving it in that way. But a few days later, they realized that there were other things that happened in their lives that they realized, okay, because I had said something to them, that they paid attention to those patterns and they began to realize that that was actually a gift I gave them. So even though it feels, Michelle, that you've upset somebody and you've upset yourself, these are gifts that you've given to each other because there's a reason why you're upset. It's because you're showing kindness but expecting that person to actually experience joy from that kindness. And that's a strategic kindness, and different areas of your brain are lit up. What if you were to experience kindness where you would say something and be okay with whatever outcome comes out? That to me is not expecting that other person to be happy, and that's altruistic kindness. That's actually better for you in terms of the scale of kindness. All kindness are wonderful things to do. But if you want to, this is an opportunity for you to practice that scale of kindness, that upper shelf of kindness, where you're not expecting that person's response in the way you want to expect that response, but you are standing your truth nevertheless, then you're practicing altruistic kindness. I hope that helps. Okay, so there's nobody else that's coming through, so thank you so much for joining me. It's been wonderful chatting with you, and I look forward to chatting with you next week.